You ever put on your favorite playlist? Maybe a soaring movie score, some classical, or just some chill lo-fi beats, and your friend just looks at you and asks, "Why do you listen to such weird music?" Well, if you find yourself skipping the big pop hits for tracks that don't have any words, it turns out you're not just being quirky. And we're going to get into it because science actually has a pretty fascinating explanation.
So, really, what is it? Why do your friends give you that confused look when you get handed the aux cord? You're feeling the emotion in the strings. You get the shifts in the melody, but it seems like they need lyrics to connect with it. Are you just trying to be different? Well, science says, nope, not at all.
Okay, so here's the breakdown. On one side, you have what people might think, that your taste is kind of edgy, maybe a little quirky, or hey, maybe just plain boring. But then you look at what the science says, and it suggests this preference isn't a personality quirk at all. In fact, it might just be a marker of a highly intelligent mind. Yeah, really.
Now, to understand why, we can't just look at modern music trends. The key isn't in today's top 40 charts. It's buried deep, deep in our shared human history. We've actually got to unlock this thing using a field called evolutionary psychology.
The answer to why you'd rather listen to a film score than the latest pop song isn't about the here and now. We have to rewind the clock, not just by decades, but by thousands and thousands of years to see how the human brain itself was shaped.
Right at the heart of all this is a core idea known as the theory of novelty. And it's a simple but powerful concept. Our intelligence is fundamentally linked to a drive, a need almost, to seek out and engage with new, non-traditional experiences.
So the logic goes a little something like this. Step 1. Our ancient ancestors were constantly facing new, unexpected challenges. Think stuff they'd never seen before. Step 2, what we now call general intelligence evolved for one big reason, to solve those brand new problems. And here's the kicker, step 3, as a result, more intelligent brains became biologically wired to be drawn to novelty itself. This brings us to the official scientific name for this whole idea, the Savannah IQ interaction hypothesis. I know, it's a mouthful, but it's exactly what we just walked through. The idea is that intelligence evolved way back when to handle the new and unexpected, so intelligent people today are more likely to seek out and actually enjoy things that are, evolutionarily novel.
Okay, so what in the world does a theory about our ancient ancestors on the savannah have to do with your Spotify library? Well, it all comes down to the difference between a really ancient sound and a brand new one.
Just take a look at this timeline. For the vast, vast majority of human history, music was vocal. I'm talking singing, chanting. It's deeply evolutionarily familiar to our brains. But purely instrumental music, complex symphonies, movie scores, electronic beats, that stuff is a very recent invention. In the grand scheme of human history, it is completely new. It's evolutionarily novel.
And this is the data that pulls it all together. Studies based on this very hypothesis show that while the general population has a pretty low preference for instrumental music, that preference is significantly higher among people with higher general intelligence. Your brain isn't being weird. It's literally seeking out a more complex and novel form of stimulation.
But hold on, the story doesn't actually end there. There's a whole second layer to this. For a lot of people who prefer instrumental music, it's not just about passively listening. It's about how the music is actually being used.
Researchers have a term for this. They call it the cognitive use of music. What that means is you are actively using your playlist as a tool. You put it on to help you focus intensely on a tough task, or to reflect on something really deeply, or even just to create a mental space for processing complex ideas. See, it's not background noise. It's more like a productivity tool. Think about it. For a highly analytical brain that's already busy trying to think its own thoughts, lyrics can actually get in the way. Words force your brain to engage its language processing centers, which can totally interrupt your own internal monologue. But music without words? Well, that provides a blank emotional canvas.
So maybe it's time to stop thinking of your playlist as weird and start seeing it for what it really is, a signature of how your brain is wired to work.
I think this quote just nails it. Lyrics tell a story. Instrumentals give your mind a space to write its own, right? It doesn't tell you what to think or feel. It basically hands the pen right over to you.
So the next time someone questions your instrumental tracks, you can tell them your preference isn't weird at all. It's the audible signature of a highly active, complex, and exploratory mind. And honestly, that's something worth turning up the volume for.